It's Monday, the 14th of June, 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. In today's headlines, the Group of Seven met over the weekend and the big economy said they'll keep spending to maintain economic momentum around the world. Plus, gold stocks lead the local share market to a new high. Premier Investments, which owns Portman's, Smiggle and Just Jeans, upgrades its profit outlook. And even a long weekend can't stop the housing market. The biggest countries in the world said they'd keep spending money to boost their economies as the globe recovers from the COVID-19 pandemic. The leaders of the US, Canada, Germany, the United Kingdom, France, Italy and Japan met at the Group of Seven get-together in Cornwall, England, over the weekend. They said they'd mobilise billions of dollars to help developing countries tackle climate change. The financing will compete with China's Belt and Road Initiative, which has won the Asian giant many friends in its region and Africa by funding huge infrastructure programs. The G7 wants to compete directly with China in backing projects and hopefully win over smaller nations' support. The richest countries in the world will prioritise schemes that reduced carbon emissions. The G7 also said it wanted to work with Beijing on fighting climate change, global supply chains and human rights. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, who was invited to the summit, said he wanted to restart constructive dialogue with Beijing. He was commenting after meeting US President Joe Biden and UK PM Boris Johnson. The three discussed areas of concern in the Indo-Pacific. According to media reports, Mr Morrison also suggested the World Health Organization get greater powers to investigate pandemics, something that other leaders at the meeting were likely to support. It was a success for global leaders, including Mr Morrison, to meet face-to-face and provide a vision for coming years that includes helping poorer nations and looking after the environment. The West is trying to hit back at China. In overseas news, Japan will start investigating how Apple and Google deal with Japanese smartphone makers, according to the Nikkei newspaper. It's another example of a major government taking action against the big tech companies and their enormous market power. And a ticket to take a space flight with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos next month sold at auction over the weekend for $28 million. The buyer was anonymous and will travel with Bezos, his brother Mark, and one other yet to be decided person. On to local news. The S&P ASX 200 closed at yet another record high on Friday, up 0.1% to 7,312 points. That's 0.2% for the full week and the fourth straight week of gains. The best performers on Friday were the gold stocks. Resolute Mining was up nearly 8%. Gold Road Resources and Perseus Mining were both up around 5.5%, and market leader Newcrest finished 3% higher. It followed a jump in the price of gold, which was trading over $1,900 an ounce. Now, since the close of the local market, the price of gold has dropped back and it's currently around $1,880 an ounce. Premier Investments, owner of Peter Alexander, Just Jeans, Portman and Smiggle, among others, upgraded its profit outlook on Friday, saying earnings would be towards 90% better than a year earlier. Even taking the pandemic into account, the upgrade was impressive, and Premier's share price jumped at the announcement before falling back to close flat on Friday. Chief Executive Mark McGuinness said very strong Mother's Day sales triggered the profit upgrade. Mr McGuinness will step down from his job after the results are announced in August and will be replaced by JB Hi-Fi boss Richard Murray. Dan Andrews, the Victorian Premier who's been off work since early March, will be back in the chair in a fortnight's time with the broken bone in his back now healed. We wish him well. Meanwhile, Victoria recorded just one community-transmitted cases of COVID yesterday and one on Saturday. Auction results were solid over the weekend, notwithstanding the Queen's birthday holiday in most of the country. There were around 1,400 homes that went for auction nationally, which is about 60% of a normal weekend. The clearance rate was a healthy 76%. Sydney, again, led the way with a clearance rate of 78.5%. And it's taken 19 bids, but Macquarie Group finally won the battle for citrus grower Vital Harvest after private equity group Rock Partners said it wouldn't make another offer for the group. It's been quite a saga, and the final price of $1.33 a unit is 33% higher than when the battle began 3 months ago and values the business at $246 million. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. Make sure you hit follow so you get it every morning. And if you'd like more detail and more stories, search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. We also release a daily interview. Today we're talking to Fred Shabesta, young rich lister and founder of finder.com.au. I'm Sean Aylmer. Have a great day.